what's different about this example versus the first tutorial is this says there's a vertical shift. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going up one, and this will be a vertical shift. And I'm going to now consider this, like we saw in the videos, this is now like my new x-axis. You will see two problems like this in your homework. So although 1, 2, and 3 of the try these don't have them, it is in your homework. This is now a vertical shift. I've taken care of this. If I want, I can even cross it out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify what is the period length, which is the length of one cycle of the sine curve. So I take 2 pi and I divide it by whatever's attached to the x, which is a 1/2. So 2 pi divided by 1/2, that's 2 pi times 2 over 1, which is 4 pi. So one cycle length, or 4 steps, is a distance of 4 pi. If I'm going to do 2 cycles to the right, 4 pi and 4 pi is 8 pi. Now how do I determine each of these lengths? I take whatever is the period length and I divide it by 4. The reason for that is every periodic function, one cycle is 4 steps, whether it's sine, cosine, or tangent. So 4 and 4 are going to reduce, and this is pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and you understand. Okay, so I have labeled everything accordingly. Remember, I'm thinking this as my x-axis and my y-axis, and it's time to get started. Let me rewrite this. I have y equals -2 sine of x over 2. I don't need to worry about the plus one. I've already adjusted for that. And so I'm going to get started. I'm going to plug in pi. So I'm going to replace this with pi. And I want to evaluate what is the sine at pi over 2. So let me grab this. At pi over 2, the sine we can see right here is 1. So this portion is 1. And 1 times -2 is -2. So from here, I'm going to drop down 2. 1 and 2. And like I did last time, I forgot. I should have evaluated 0. I should have started with 0. So let's go back and do 0 here. If I change this x to a 0 instead of pi, 0 divided by 2 is 0. Let's evaluate the sine at 0. The sine at 0 is 0. The sine at 0 is 0. And 0 times -2 is 0. And so many of us can already see what the shape is. So once you start catching on, you can already see what the shape is. But I'm still going to do a few more steps so you can tell. So if y equals -2 sine, I'm now going to plug in 2 pi. So I have 2 pi replacing the x with 2 pi over 2. And so the 2's are going to be eliminated. I want to know what is the sine of pi. I come back here. The sine of pi is 0. So this portion is 0. 0 times -2 is 0. Let's plug in 3 pi. So again, I'm being lazy here. I have y equals -2 sine of 3 pi over 2. So let's evaluate what is the sine at 3 pi over 2. The sine at 3 pi over 2 is -1. So this portion is -1. -1 times -2 is +2. So from here, I'm going to go up 2. And then we would do 4, we get the exact same thing. So what caused us, instead of doing a hill and then a valley, what caused us to reverse that and do like a valley first and a hill second? It was this negative sign, which it caused us to reflect across. We often think of it as the x-axis, but in this case it's the line y equals 1 because our midline has moved this function up. And then we can just continue this pattern. So I'm down 2, I'm up 2. Remember, it doesn't stop here. That's just 2 cycles that I'm showing. Up at the midline, down, and here.